In today's video, I'm talking about 8 men fragrances that'll make you smell like a boss. And with this list, guys, you gotta be careful. If you don't wear these fragrances will definitely wear you. Let's cue the intro, jump right into it.
Coach Rob 619. Coach Rob 619.
So like I said in the opening of the video, these are my boss scents. These are my top tier upscale fragrances in my collection. And out of everything in my collection, these are the most challenging to my nose. But every time I wear them, I feel like a boss when I got them on. So how I'm gonna lay this video out, I'm gonna start with my most challenging fragrances down to the most wearable ones. But they all serve the same purpose. They make me smell like a boss when I'm wearing them, and I'm sure they'll do the same thing with you. Now coming in at number 1, and this is the most challenging to my nose on this list, that is Amouage Overture. Now this is one of the newest fragrances to my collection. I like the way this smells in small doses. And what I mean by that is when you smell this, you're gonna get a great boozy note. It's woody. You got some amber in here, nice amber note. But what makes it kind of challenging to my nose is it has an animalic oud, and then you have some incense on top of that. And that kind of makes me a little bit, insecure when I'm wearing this. But that's if I go with too many sprays. If you go with 2 sprays of this, that's the perfect spot right there, because you don't get too much of that animalic vibe. You get more of that boozy and that nice amber, and this makes you smell like a boss when you got it on. You just can't be too heavy on the trigger. 2 sprays does a trick. Amouage Overture. Now coming in at number 2, this fragrance had a lot of hype when it came out, and it's an absolutely amazing fragrance. And I'm talking about Mimos African Leather. Now this fragrance right here, man, this has an extremely harsh opening. It's bold, it's medicinal, it's extremely spicy. It's a spicy oriental. And when I say extreme spice, for that first 15 to 20 minutes, man, it's like somebody threw a bag of spices in your face because it's extremely harsh. But once that settled down, this becomes a smooth, powdery leather fragrance. It almost reminds me in a dry down reminds me of YSL's La Nuit. And we all know how great that fragrance is. So if you take YSL La Nuit in the dry down, this is a lot of spice on top of that. Like I said, with that powdery vibe. And that's what you get with this. But this is definitely a boss scent. Like when you smell this, you're gonna tell this is nothing but quality. People around you gonna know you got a quality fragrance on. You got something that definitely smells different and unique. But this right here is definitely gonna make you smell like a boss. African Leather, check this one out. Now coming in at number 3, another boss scent, obviously, and this one is Frederic Mall's Promise. Now this is a great fragrance, guys. It took me a while for me to, warm up to this fragrance. This has like a harsh opening with an array of different smells, and they're all fighting for attention. You're gonna get spicy, floral, sweet. You're gonna get an earthy patchouli, and it's like a patchouli that smells almost oil-based. This almost smells like motor oil, if that makes sense. It's not like dirty oil, but it has an oily smell to it. It's real dense and sweet, and it's real earthy. But once those fragrances start to blend, this is really, to me, to my nose, this is a lovely apple and one of the best patchoulis that you would smell in the fragrance. I can see how some people would consider this a masterpiece. If patchouli is your thing and you like that sweet apple note on top of that, this is a magnificent fragrance. This is great. Definitely a boss scent. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not something you're going to smell every day. So this is definitely something that just top tier, upper echelon. When people smell this on you, they're going to realize that you're wearing a boss scent. Check this one out, Promise. Now coming in at number 4 on my list, guys, this is a testament that your nose will change along the journey. So if you have a sample or you have a bottle in your collection right now that you want to get rid of because you may not like it, I challenge you to hold on to that bottle or even that sample a little bit longer, because your nose definitely will change. And this bottle at number 4, when I first smelt it, I did not like it. I hated it. I didn't understand why anybody would want to smell like it. And 10, 12 years later, this has been added to my collection, and I absolutely enjoy it now. And that is Creed's Royal Oud. And if you guys have been following me for a long time, you know I've been all about the freshies, the blue fragrances, the aquatics, the citrus fragrance. So when I first got into niche perfumery, I went from, your typical designer fragrances Then I went right into the Creed's house with your Green Irish Tweed, Original Santal, Original Vetiver, Erofa, Silver Mountain Water, all these bangers like back to back to back to back to back. And then I smelled this. And I was like, what the hell is this? This was my first experience with oud, and that oud smell, and it has like a strong cedar smell, and it has cloves. It's a peppery and cloves, and I was like, I don't know if this cloves or the pepper, but that oud peppery clove smell, I was like, nah, that's definitely not for me. I don't know why anybody likes royal oud, and at the time I first heard about this, everybody was saying how great it smelled, but I couldn't get with it at the time. And like I said, over years, my nose has definitely matured and definitely has, grown into other fragrances outside of aquatics and citrus fragrance. And today, this smells to me like a clean oud. It's not, now that I've smelled other oud fragrances, I don't even really get a lot of oud out of this one at all. Really what I get now is a masculine, clean, peppery cedar. This is a natural cedar wood fragrance, and it's absolutely amazing in my opinion. This is definitely a boss scent, upscale scent. This is class in a bottle. So if you're looking for a boss scent, check out Creed Royal Oud if you haven't already. Now coming in at number 5, I got another oud boss scent on the list. And don't think that I'm all into oud fragrances, because I, to this day, really don't like oud fragrances. So when I find an oud fragrances that's in my collection, you guys can guarantee that it's a good one, because I only like the clean, almost mass appealing ouds. Not to say any of these are mass appealing, but anyway, the fragrance I'm talking about is called Carved Oud. Now this is a great oud fragrance, and this is a good intro. I think Creed Royal Oud that I just spoke about and this Carved Oud, these would be great intro ouds to get into, because they're not that barnyard oud, they're not the skanky oud. These are real clean, wearable ouds. And this one is compared to Tom Ford's Oud Wood. It smells almost identical to it, but for whatever reason, I don't like Tom Ford Oud Wood, and I like this one, so I don't know how that makes sense. But to me, this has a little bit more complexity to it. It performs a little bit better, it lasts longer, and it just smells better to me for some reason. It's cleaner, and I think it has a note of iris. It's real subtle, but it has a sweet, floral, almost iris smelling note in this, what my nose picks up, and I think that's what puts it over the top for me. Tom Ford was a little plain, I don't know, it needed something else in it, and Carved Oud added that something else, and I think it's that sweet floral iris vibe that they added to this, what pushes it over the top for me. But this is definitely another boss scent, Carved Oud. Look into this one if you haven't smelled it already. Coming in at number 6, we're getting to the more wearable fragrances on the list, 6 through 8, and this one is a masterpiece. Everybody already knows about this one, so I won't go too much into it, and that's Parfums de Marly Harriet. This is a great fragrance. We already know about this masterpiece, so I'm not going to go too deep into this one, but this is your dark, woody, vanilla, cinnamon, kind of powdery vibe fragrance. Great performance on me. I know there's been some, batch variations or something like that. I've heard people in the comments say that the newer formulations are weaker than the old formulations. I don't know. The bottle I have last performed, smelled great, hotly complimented. So this is a great masculine boss scent right here. Parfums de Marly Harriet. Now coming in at number 6, this is definitely your upscale, top tier luxury fragrance. This is an amber, floral, citrus fougere fragrance, and this is Roja Dove Bergdorf Goodman. It's called Goodman's, and this is a great fragrance. This on the list of everything I just mentioned, this is more or less your spring, summer citrus fragrance. Great performance out of this one. Lasts all day for a citrus fragrance. It smells kind of 90s, has a 90s vibe, so it has a mature vibe, but this smells like money. This is definitely a boss scent. Although this does smell good, it does have an animalic note to it that makes this a little bit challenging to my nose. So even though it's a citrus floral fragrance, I don't go heavy sprays with this one either, because too many sprays brings out that animalic notes and makes it a little bit more pronounced. But if you go just 2 to 3 sprays, you get more of the floral aspects, you get more of the citrus, and that's what makes this fragrance good and just smell like money. So another fragrance on my list that don't go too heavy on, because it does get a little bit challenging to the nose once that animalic note starts kicking up. But outside of that, great performance, great smell. People around you would know this is a luxury scent and that you're a boss. So check this one out. Now coming in at number 8, last but definitely not least, This is a fragrance that I think myself and a lot of people in the community first heard about this one from the late great Kevin Samuels himself, R.I.P. And this fragrance is Jock Faith Pour L'Homme. Now, this is a great scent that he brought to the community. For those that don't know, Kevin Samuels was in the fragrance community before he started talking about, you know, relationships and that kind of stuff. And he spoke about this fragrance right here, which made me purchase it. And back then it was about 20 bucks. I believe it may be discontinued now, but you could find a couple bottles here and there on the internet for around $80. And what this is a great woody, sweet kind of fragrance, patchouli. It has sweetness from tonka bean, raspberry, and this is definitely a good one, man. It lasts all day on your skin, even longer on your clothes. Definitely a boss scent compliment getter. This is probably one of the most compliment factor fragrances on this list so far, at least for me personally. This is definitely boss scent, high value scent. Check this one out. If you haven't smelled it, try to find it somewhere online. But that wraps up everything, guys. This was my boss scents 2023. Let me know what you think. Everything I spoke about in this video is fall and winter would definitely be the times to break these bad boys out and give them a test run if you're interested in anything that I mentioned here. But until next time, peace.